Hi, I'm Justine Coleman. This is Dr. Bridget Melton, and we are going to be doing the Submax Bruce test on the treadmill for you all today. So, of course, the equipment you're going to need for this Woodway treadmill is the best. If you're purchasing treadmills for your facility, Woodways last forever, but they're the most expensive, unfortunately. So this Woodway treadmill is also pretty wide. So here shortly, I'm going to go over some safety protocols for the treadmill with Bridget. You'll notice that she is also hooked up to a automated blood pressure cuff, and she has a heart rate monitor on, which you cannot see. But she'll be getting a reading through the treadmill here shortly, so she won't have to pay attention to what's on her wrist. And we have the Borg scale up on the wall. So we have pieces of tape with the number right here at the headboard, or the front computer, so she can just point to that quickly or say it out loud if she's still able to talk. Because you guys, realistically, if you're looking at these speeds for the treadmill, she should be walking the entire time, not running. So the chance of her being able to tell me what her RPE is pretty good. But the first thing you want to do is, of course, clear them for paperwork, PARQ Plus, health history questionnaire, which Bridget, we're going to pretend like she has passed, that she's a current client. And then it's always just good to ask if there's been any changes throughout the day. So have you had something to eat?
Had breakfast, just did the Submax bite test.
So her heart rate is going to be elevated. I do not recommend doing these two tests back to back. You would choose one or the other. This is going to be more weight bearing, so we would expect to see if she was moving up to running, because Bridget does run, a greater increase in heart rate for a treadmill test than we would for a bike test. So we went over food, hydration level, changes to medication, any recent illnesses, and you should be starting to have that on your radar a little bit more with, of course, COVID-19 and the number of people who are then suffering from myocarditis, even after they recover from being asymptomatic or having mild symptoms, which will impact cardiac output and their VO2. So a Submax test, if they're cleared by a physician, would really be a great test for those folks.
And I told my class, I thought I got it in July, and I still feel a little residual stuff going on in my lungs and my heart, even when I run. Not bad, but just something going on there. So
that's
again,
comforting before we start this test. So if you are going to be doing a max test, it's also really great to have an AED nearby, which we have in this room, and we have our CPR mask and the blood pressure kit. You guys will hear me talk about this more when we do the max test with folks. But the first thing I want to do is go over the treadmill. All treadmills are created differently, you guys, and they are not necessarily safe pieces of equipment. So the first thing I always want clients to do is go ahead and clip the bottom of the shirt. If you clip up too high, you increase your risk of like ninja chopping the magnet off. Plus, Bridget is also going to be contending with this blood pressure cuff here. Bring your hands to the sidebars, and then to dismount the treadmill, you're going to jump to the outside. Yes. Because you're walking, you'll probably feel like you can two-step out, which will be fine. So hands down by your sides, dismount. Do you feel comfortable with that?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, feet back on the treadmill, hands down by your side, you're clipped in. We never start the treadmill with our feet on the belt, just in case it's the type of treadmill where as soon as you turn it on, it goes to somebody's previous speed, which you don't want to guess about. All right, Bridget, you have three different ways to increase your speed and your incline. You have an incline button here, speed button there. You also have it at this front board. Additionally, you have it on this right side. I will be increasing your incline and speed during the test here, so you don't have to worry about it. Just know if you go to dismount and you grab up here, you could increase the speed. Not as worried about the incline, more worried about the speed. You also have 3 off mechanisms. You have an off at the front board, you have an off for the magnet, yep, put that back on, and you also have a stop here. If you need to stop during the test, you can tell me, you can tap the side, I will be able to hear you, I'll stop that. We're gonna do this will count as our warm up, so we're gonna do a really quick check for you to make sure you know how to dismount when the belt's on. So what I'm gonna do, during the test, I'm gonna increase your speed first and then increase your incline. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and increase the speed. So the belt's gonna start moving. Go ahead, step on slowly, hands off the handlebars. Hands cannot be on there during the test. All right, so I'm gonna put this at about 1.2 miles per hour. Go ahead and dismount. You feel comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Go ahead, go back on. I'm gonna increase your incline up to 2. So you feel how it kind of jumps a little bit if I don't do it smoothly. I'm just gonna apologize in advance because I'm probably gonna do that to you. Go ahead, hands off the handlebar, the bars, because you can't have them on there during the test. Go ahead and dismount. Feel comfortable with that?
Yes.
All right, back on the treadmill. I'm gonna increase the incline just shortly up to, this is gonna be a pretty big jump, but it's gonna go up to 10. So this is not as great as it's gonna get during the test. That's 10.0 people, not 1.0. So 10.0. Go ahead, dismount. All right, back on. Show me where your board scale is to point.
Here.
Awesome, perfect. You can also say it out loud because you're walking. Hands off the bars. All right. So what?
I'm ready.
So what could happen if you swipe that magnet? The belt goes into a free release, which means it's not going to stop. So it could feel like the treadmill is actually speeding up on you, which would be really unfortunate. So it's a good thing you're walking. So I want you to know what that feels like. Go ahead and pull the magnet. Yes. So it doesn't stop. So if your hands are on the bars and you go to dismount and your feet are still going, the belt will still go. I can't do anything to this treadmill until you put the magnet back on. Thank you. And then if you just tell me to stop, I can hit the stop button. Now try to move the belt with your feet. It stops. Are we clear on that?
Yep.
You feel comfortable with that?
Yes.
All right, dismount. We never start the treadmill with our feet on the belt. Go ahead and hit on. All right, so just to be clear, once again, I'm doing speed and then incline. Yes?
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna be taking your heart rate about 2 minutes into the stage. I will ask for your blood pressure first.
Now we have all fancy equipment here. So I got the heart rate monitor, it pops up automatically there. We are doing the automated cuff because it's the huge step difference would make it very difficult and unsafe for Ms. Coleman to take my blood pressure at the same time. So for safety factors, always understand your setup, always practice your setup. So if you're not used to your equipment, get on there, run through your own protocol to understand what you're gonna be asking your clients to do. So just a little caveat there before we begin, thinking everyone has this glorious equipment. We are in a lab clinical setting, so we do have access to really nice equipment, which is nice, and maybe not always the case in the field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will ask for more heart rates as we move into stage 1 past the warm-up. I'm cool with counting that as the
Okay.
warm-up. So go ahead and do another blood pressure reading, please.
Okay, so that's on.
Just to make sure it's working. And tell me what your word.
6, no exertion.
About how long is that taken to measure your blood pressure?
It's taking a slow. Slow. It's going out pretty good now.
What is it?
I don't know yet.
Oh.
So the automated inflates and then deflates. 101/73.
All right. Good.
With a heart rate of 84.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and cruise into stage 1. I'm gonna start increasing your speed. Feet on the treadmill, start walking. I'm bumping your speed up to 1.7. And you're going up to a 10% grade. You don't have to pump your arms.
Speed walking, I'm not there yet, but my class knows if I can speed walk, I don't have to run.
Sorry.
How long do we take?
I'm gonna ask for your heart rate a moment. You're here for 3 minutes, so these are 3-minute long stages.
Yeah, you always want to let your person know how long is this test going to be.
Forever, never ends.
Explaining the whole test. You might go up to 16 minutes. We'll let them know versus they think it's a 2-minute test and all of a sudden they're like, what the heck? Get me off of this thing.
Okay, so we're at 104 beats per minute. Go ahead and give blood pressure cuff, please. Tell me what your RP is.
9.
And if your client is talking during the test, it will also elevate their heart rate. I'm asking for her blood pressure a little bit earlier because it's taking the system so long to do a measure. Okay, we're at 100 beats per minute. So it can be normal in the first stage for you to have a greater heart rate.
Cuff is too large for me. I don't know if someone's gonna have to hold this.
Want me to hang on, hold it in place? Okay, so you're at 106. Come on. You did. I'm just kidding. No, we don't need blood pressure for the friction equation though. So we're good. All right, I'm about to increase you up to 2.5 miles per hour, 12% grade. I'm a little bit behind. You ready?
Yeah.
We're going up just 2%. I'm gonna start that minute stage now. Get an extra minute on stage 1. This test may actually feel a little bit easier than Submax bike test for you. Although your heart rate response may end up being pretty similar to your 122 right now. Alright, so first minute in, we're at 121 beats per minute. Are you trying blood pressure again? Okay.
Feels like it's gonna be
That cuff may only be good for resting, and it may be having trouble picking up your blood pressure due to the vibration and the treadmill. pretty good at being steady state. So we're at 123 beats per minute at the 2 minute in between. Can you tell me your board rating, please?
I would say 11.
So remember with that board 6 to 20, it's just like you're adding a 0 to the end of those digits. So we're seeing a pretty good parallel with this test for her RPE.
Need to order a blood pressure and exercise, automated exercise blood pressure cuff, because even if you had, it's just really hard to get on an incline machine.
All right, I'm bumping you up here in 10 seconds because you've got a really good steady state. I'm giving you guys a little bit extra heart rate. We're going up to 3.4 miles per hour. Bridget speed coming out first here. And then we're at 14%. Just kidding. You get to do more. You want me to take that?
Yeah.
I got her. Thumbs up if you're feeling comfortable on the treadmill, feeling good. Doing a great job. Keep your normal stride as if you were walking outside. What your RP is on that 6 to 20, please.
13.
Okay. So you guys, just for reference, 13 is somewhat hard. Steady state for this stage. We've got 1 more minute in the stage, Bridget, and then you're into recovery. About 145 beats per minute, which is, we were at 148, I think, when we finished the Submax bike test. Coming back to 1.7. I know, it's a crawl. 0%. RP in just a moment because everything didn't come down until 10 minutes and 22 seconds. So she ended at 146 beats per per minute. And just for reference, you guys, within 30 seconds, she was already down to 115. So this is what, ideally, this is what you want to see, is you want to see a really quick recovery. The better your recovery heart rate, you have a decreased risk of cardiovascular disease and morbidity, cause of death from cardiovascular disease. So if you did in fact have COVID, this is still a really good recovery. It's actually really is excellent without having values in front of me. What's your RP right now, Bridget?
9.
Okay. Usually you want to see that somebody's heart rate gets below 120 beats per minute. We're definitely there. We're almost back. So at rest, she was at 86 from the Submax bike test. So yeah, Submax bike test, she ended at 144 beats per minute, or 145. This one basically did the same for you. Now, Bridget, do you cycle more or run more?
I definitely run more. I've been trying to cycle. You'd be proud of that. And knowing people's training age, along with not only being genetically older, I do have a long training age. So someone might have, you'll have different types of clients with some people who run a lot. The other thing is, here's your pop quiz. What if I was having shortness of breath or like tingling in my hands? What would you do?
What would I do?
Yeah, well, I was making them ponder the thought. But what would you do? You'd stop exercise immediately, activate your emergency action plan, because that means that they're having signs and symptoms of cardiovascular disease. So keep that in mind.
Or an event.
Or an event, yeah. Having a cardiovascular event, potentially. So whatever that protocol is, most times it's stop exercise, activate emergency personnel, calling 911. It was in the other room that they had a little protocol on the wall that says, here's what you even say. Oh, there it is, turn around. So in our lab, we even have what you say to individuals, because some facilities are huge. If you work at a major medical facility, they're not going to know where to go in. And the same thing here on campus, they're like, the Hanner building, there's like 18 different entrances to the Hanner building. So you have to be very specific of where they're going to enter and where they're going to go so they know. And I know our emergency medical personnel actually walk a lot of facilities, especially large facilities, to understand door entrances and stuff like that. So, all right, so now you have the numbers. We're going to take a picture and put that picture of numbers up. As you saw, we had faulty wonderful equipment that kind of bailed on us with our blood pressure cuff not working. So practice this before. Don't bring a client in and expect it to work. You might have to run through this with another trainer or something like that to make sure everything is working. But you'll have those numbers. You'll be able to crunch. You'll be able to see the difference in my Submax on a bike versus my Submax running. As we mentioned, I tend to run a little bit more than bike, so that might have an influence. But we'll see when we crunch the numbers. Good job, guys.